It's Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson.
Well, Dick, the first time in our 5 years of the show, we're on the road doing the show.
And I didn't say good morning either.
No, we're taping
doing this at night. So.
Yes, this show being taped today at Athletic Park in Wausau. We are at Athletic Park. Yeah. Unfortunately, we did not get to see a game with the Wausau Ignite.
Yeah, we've seen some tremendous rain, but that's about it. But it's really nice to see the park, though. It's been years since I've been up here, and the improvements they've made up here, Larry, it's a beautiful, beautiful place.
Yes, it is. It's the first time I've ever been here, so okay. I'm happy to be here, and we're happy to be joined by the owner of the Wausau Woodchucks and the Wausau Ignite, Mark McDonald. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
Let's talk a little bit about the park. You're involved with it big time. What are some of the improvements that you've made over the years now?
Oh, this could fill the half hour.
Well,
right now. But,
go right
okay.
ahead.
So when I bought the team back in 2012, they called it Historic Athletic Park, and I quickly learned that historic meant old and run down, and so it is historic, no doubt about it. It dates back to 1912. But it had been in disrepair for many, many years. No money had put into it for years, and it wasn't really comfortable, and it really wasn't conducive for families to bring their kids here. And so, everything we've done over the past 14 years has been about making this place more family friendly, and also more comfortable, so that business people feel like coming out and entertaining their clients here. There's been 4 phases. The phase we're sitting in is the grandstand with the luxury suites and everything like that, and that was done that opened in 2014. That also included the neighborhood park outside, which was a huge addition. In 2016, the third base side was remodeled. In 2017, Liney's Lodge out there and that area out there was remodeled, and then in 2020, it was the visitor dugout and the dugout area above it that was remodeled there too. Okay. There was in 2 years ago, we added a video board. And there's always something going on, and that's sort of the nature of this business. Is you have to keep innovating and changing in order to bring your fans back. You want to give them something new.
All right, well, what we're going to be talking about here mainly on the show today is the Wausau Ignite, the new softball team that's in the Northwoods Softball League. You talk about the field, and one of the things you have to do with the field is to get it ready for softball as opposed to baseball with the Woodchucks. So what all goes into getting that ready to go?
Well, so girls, I mean, they actually prefer to play on a skinned infield, a dirt infield, but the next best thing is turf.
Yep.
And it's not just there's more than just putting turf in. You also have to get rid of the mound, and that's because the mound, there's no mound in the field of play in any softball field out there. And so what we did here is we turfed the infield. You notice we went another 6 feet past the dirt line, and that's because that's where the second baseman and third and shortstop stand in baseball. But then also there's no mound. But when we play baseball, we bring in a portable mound and drop it down. And then when we play softball, we take that mound away and we bring in a temporary fence at 225 feet, which is the regulation level in college.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 225 down the lines or all the way around?
All the way around.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So Wausau Ignite, bringing it into town. How exciting was that, and how long was the process to getting this all together?
It took a while. First off, just getting the field ready, there was a lot of negotiations with the city. There's a lease that has to be negotiated. There's a lot of other things that come into it, like parking and lots of other politics in city, which you don't want to hear about, and I don't want to talk about. And there was that, and then even to the point where we had to, we got into the PFAS type debate. That's why we have crushed olive pits as our infield and not rubber. And so that took quite a bit of time. There's the money and everything, and getting your staff together and ready, and so it took us 2 years. Yeah, it was probably the hardest thing I've ever done here at Athletic Park.
Let's talk about the Northwoods League, Mark. Okay, you're the fifth team, first team this year. How long has the league itself had softball?
This is the second year.
Okay.
Yeah. So that last year they played with 4 teams.
Okay.
This year we're the 5th team. I know for sure there's at least one team coming in next year. So
Nice.
and that will be Grand Forks, North Dakota, or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of nice having a 6 team because then you have an even number of teams.
Yeah. The schedule gets kind of goofy when somebody has to be off every night. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, let's mention those other teams. We have Minot, North Dakota, Mankato, who was here tonight, and then La Crosse and Madison too.
Yeah.
So a nice representation from Wisconsin. So
Yeah, and that is the Minot trip is a long trip. Yeah.
So you had the Wausau Woodchucks here. What made you want to bring a softball team into Wausau?
Well, a couple things. I mean, it's a beautiful facility, and it was kind of like was used too much and not used enough. So it's amazing what 36 games on this field could do in terms of damage to it. And with this weather we get in Wisconsin and rain and everything like that, having a natural grass infield was just rough to keep up. And so that's one of the reasons why we put turf in, was not just softball, but also so Mark never had to pull tarp again in his life. Yeah, I am 66 years old now, and I'm way too old to pull tarp. But the idea was to see the park used more. And I think it was really exciting for me that I was opening it up to the other 50% of the population, or 52% of the population. Yeah. And I think it's great. And, for the first time in 113 years, women have played at Athletic Park.
Okay.
So you just think about that.
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely. That's right.
It only took 113 years.
1912 to 2025.
Yeah, and they're here now, and so if you watch them, just so baseball players are cool, softball players are fun. And so you watch these softball players, first off, the joy they have in playing the game and the energy they bring and the excitement. But more and more, it's the engagement they have with the fans. I mean, the little girls and everybody and the fans that just, we had a game here early on where it was the second game of the season. We had 1,500 the first game, 250 at the second. And those 250 fans make more noise than 1,500 fans at a Woodchuck game.
Yeah.
They're just raucous, and the girls are just the energy level they bring is so much fun. And I think it's exciting for for the city of Wausau to see that, and all central Wisconsin to see that. So yeah.
All right. So the Wausau Ignite. We're talking with the owner, Mark McDonald. Well, again, glad to have you here on Two Guys on Sports. Again, we're doing it from Athletic Park here on Wednesday. And you're going to be joining us on Thursday to hear the show. But we were hoping to get a game today, watch the Wausau Ignite, but unfortunately it rained on Wednesday night, so they're going to have a doubleheader on Thursday. Right. Hopefully they can get it in then.
Let's talk about how the Ignite are put together, Mark.
Okay,
and the Woodchucks. For that
matter. And a lot is changing in this whole collegiate summer league business, not just in softball but in baseball. And so traditionally, the way a team is put together is starting in the fall, we start calling all our contacts in colleges around the country and coaches and saying, hey, listen, do you have anybody that can play for us? Over the course of the winter and into the spring, you'll probably on the baseball side see close to 400 different names put in front of you. And from that, you have to pick 35. Yeah.
How do you pick? I mean, you got scouts that are out there looking at these.
You do. There's a lot of services that you can work with that come from, especially for high school kids, and you can check out their college stats. You know the quality of different programs. And believe it or not, in some cases, you have to trust the judgment and the recommendation the coach is giving you. If they give you a bad one, then you throw them in the trash can and never go back to them again. And sometimes they just mess up too. But so there's a lot of different ways. And when you're building a team, any like softball team, there's the key positions. There's pitching. And
right.
pitching, and then there's the catcher and the shortstop are the two key positions, and then some of the more power positions are you see a lot more kids in those positions, but filling those important positions are there. So we talk to the coaches now. What's happened with the transfer portal and coaches fearing losing their players by being seen in the summer is they're offering us up fewer players. That's happening on both baseball and softball. And so because of that, we're having actually to go straight to the player. And some of the players are really looking for an opportunity because they may have sat on the bench all spring and they didn't get a chance, and they want to show their way. And then what? Lo and behold, guess what? Next thing you know, they're signing another school for NIL money and everything like that. And so it's you're offering these ball players a tremendous opportunity, especially in the world we live in now with NIL money. Yeah.
Well, I noticed, especially in the roster here with the Wausau Ignite, you've got young ladies from all over.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, I don't know, boggles my mind, so to speak, on how you can find these players from all these different. I mean, you look at the universities like University of Missouri, Kansas City, and Upper Iowa University. Some of these schools probably people never heard of.
Some of the best players in this league have come from some of the most obscure schools that you've ever heard of.
Yeah.
We once had an MVP in the baseball side of Northwoods League from Friends University. And I've never heard of it. I've never heard of it again. Never heard of it before that, never heard of it after that. And there's just so many colleges out there that you just don't think about.
Yeah, if somebody doesn't perform well, do they get cut?
No.
No.
We don't cut them.
All right.
But it doesn't mean they're going to play.
Okay.
So it's an 18 lady roster, and so you got to put 9 out there every night. With the flex and the DP, you're right around, you're at 10. But it just you play the best 9. And everybody gets a chance.
Yeah,
It is a developmental league, and
Right.
especially as a brand new team, we're more apt to give everybody a chance, and everybody gets a chance. But by the end of the summer, it's really about performance.
Sure.
While they're here in Wausau, now you're setting them up with host families.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell us a little about that.
Yeah, it's actually it's a really it's wonderful for the community because you take these girls from all over the country, some of them from the South and all over, and you just put them in the community, and they're out there and they're living with these families and everything like that. It brings a whole new diversity and to the community that the families fall in love with them. And that's we've found that with the girls it's even more so that they really do, so they're much more, again, they're much more outgoing and personable, and some of these baseball players are just cool. They're just
When people come to a Wausau Ignite game or even a Woodchuck game, but you talk about softball being so energetic, what do fans get when they come to a game like a Wausau Ignite game?
They get to see a bunch. Well, first of all, it's a 3-ring circus, but the main act of that 3-ring circus is, of course, the ball players.
Right.
And they get to watch a bunch of young girls who are giving it their all, that are really dedicated to this sport and love this sport. And they may not be perfect. They may have errors, but they give it a full-out effort, and the fans really appreciate that. We also give them entertainment between innings, lots of music and funny things on the video board. There is a brat here now and then, and of course a beer now and then too. So there's lots and then the camaraderie. They're usually with friends and family, and it gives them a chance. And you can see all the group outing areas we have here where they can sit and visit and everything. So there's a lot of things going on here, but the main act of it is just watching these girls give it their all.
Okay. All right. Thanks for joining us, Mark.
Okay.
Appreciate it, Mark.
Bye for luck. Yeah.
Good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we're joined now by Brianna. Your last name?
Brienne.
Okay, you are the GM for the Wausau Ignite. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on the show.
Of course.
We talked with owner Mark McDonald. He kind of gave us a little insight as to how teams are formed for the softball league. Maybe you could just give us your interpretation of how to get a team formed in the Northwoods League for softball.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mix of recruiting and those who apply to play through the league. Players can apply to a specific team or the league as a whole. Otherwise, I and our head coach, Jasmine, we have been recruiting players as well.
Now, as far as recruiting, where do you go to get? You said players send stuff to you, and do you actually go out and look for players, or do you rely on them bringing the stuff to you?
Like I said, it's a mix of both.
Okay.
We recruit from all collegiate levels, whether it's D1 down to D3, NAIA, JUCO colleges, any players who are interested in playing and would like to be a part of Wausau Ignite in the summer.
Okay. I didn't ask Mark this, but I know when you look for players, he said you basically sometimes have to go and talk to the players themselves. Do they kind of embellish their stats a little bit? And do you get somebody maybe that isn't quite as good as what they had looked like on paper?
Yeah.
It's first year, so.
Correct. I mean, they can give us, their stats and everything, and we can go online and see their bio page. We can look at some of their game film and see what they've been doing in spring.
So how has it been going for you so far as the players that you recruited and how well they've been playing this season?
Yeah, it's been good. All the players have been really enjoying their experience, which is something that we really wanted, especially this first year. The players who come to play with us to enjoy their time feel like they are gaining skills that they can take back to their colleges then when they return, and really just enjoy their time overall.
Do you get anything from the colleges that say they put certain restrictions on any players or anything like that?
I haven't encountered that yet per se, but there's certainly some coaches, especially for pitchers, they want them to pitch, maybe a certain limit throughout the summer, a certain number of games, innings, that sort of thing, which isn't uncommon.
Okay. All right. Dick?
On the field goals for the team this year, did you have any set for yourself or anything? Or it's the first year, I know, but any long-term goals for the Ignite?
I would say the big one is for the players to enjoy it, the fans to enjoy it, and to really embrace Ignite softball.
When you came in as a GM, was this what you thought it would be? this job? I mean, your job basically is getting the team together.
Yeah. I wasn't entirely sure what it would all entail, but I'm happy that I was able to step into the role, and it's been great.
All right.
What is some of your background, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went to St. Norbert for college. I ran track there, so I've been in athletics my entire life. Wanting to stay in athletics after that, and so I joined the Woodchucks, doing their food and beverage operations, overseeing game day staff and such. And I've been doing that the past 4 seasons, and then this year, still doing that stuff, and then also overseeing softball.
So you got your hands full. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Brianna, GM for the Wausau Ignites. Hopefully the weather will get better here.
We're hoping.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you so much coming in.
All right. So we're talking here at Athletic Park in Wausau, and we're doing our Two Guys on Sports on location. First time we've ever done that.
First time I left the office. So.
Yes. Traveled an hour north here to Wausau for Athletic Park. Unfortunately, we were going to watch a Wausau Ignite game Wednesday, but it got rained out, so they're going to do it on Thursday as a doubleheader, hopefully.
Yep.
We'll see how that goes. All right, we're going to bring in Ann Molski, who is the Hall of Fame coach from Pacelli. And the reason we're bringing her in here is because she has a former player of hers that is playing with the Wausau Ignite. Thanks for joining us, Ann.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And congratulations on the Hall of Fame induction.
Thank you so much.
How'd that feel?
It was humbling, and it was very, very awe-ing, if that's a verb, because in order to get into the Hall of Fame, you have to be nominated by a peer, and they have to fill out all types of information.
Sure.
And my husband is my stat person. I don't know how many games. It's like I know we lost 2 games this year. That's what I know about my season. We won a bunch and we lost 2. But it's never been about that. So it was just very, very humbling to have a peer nominate me, and then the board, and there's a whole with the Coaches Association in the state. There's a whole group of people that take a look at the nominees, and there were 4 of us that went in.
All right. Well, in case people don't know Ann, she is also a alumni from Neilsville.
86,
86.
86,
Yep.
88,
Okay.
86.
All right.
Yep.
Let's just talk a bit about how. Okay, back in the day when you
Back
played
in the
softball,
day.
I believe Denny Cisco was coaching then, wasn't he?
My freshman year was Dwayne Arndt.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah, that's right.
then 3 years with Mr. Cisco.
And I
Yep,
always
Denny.
said, I said, Daryl Ashton at Loyal and Dennis Cisco at Neilsville kind of set the way softball is played now.
And Bonnie, and don't
Bonnie
forget
Wire.
about Bonnie
Bonnie
Wire
Wire.
from
Oh, yes,
Greenwood.
yes.
I mean, yeah.
And she took 2 teams to state too. So,
Yeah.
And but those 3 people kind of changed. They brought the bunting in, and
Right.
and the base running. At first teams were just swinging away and going for the fences, and it was not really good. Those people made softball exciting. So.
Well, when I was in high school, when I was a freshman, I was playing ball, but I didn't know the rule that you couldn't play slow pitch the same time you could play fast pitch. So I was playing co-ed slow pitch softball in Granton
Sure.
on Sunday nights.
Yeah.
And then I would go to fast pitch during the week. And then on Sunday night, I would have my slow pitch league because it was co-ed slow pitch
Yeah.
until Mr. Arndt found out, and Mr. Arndt
Put a
informed me
kibosh
that
on that.
that is not what we do. I'm like, okay, I didn't know. And in all of these fast pitch leagues and all of this training and all of this speciality that they have. I mean, when I was a senior, we had Tara Peterson was our pitcher, and I think she worked with Pete Copeline out of Marshfield,
no,
and
sure.
I think that's who.
Yeah, and the Loyal girls.
And the
all went
Loyal
to-
girls, and I
went
think
to-
that's who she worked with. I'm not sure Tara would know for sure, but all of a sudden, then that was the first time I've heard of somebody actually having a specialized coach to do this. So
Pete
yeah,
Copeland, then he had Wayne Hamlin as a pitching.
Yes,
And
yes.
Wayne Hamlin has always been considered a pitching guru.
yes.
So how much of that stuff now have you been using over your years of coaching?
Well, I kind of married into Pacelli because my husband was a Pacelli boy.
Okay.
And I actually played basketball at UW Marshfield for 2 years. And so then I started coaching basketball.
Oh, okay.
And then with the basketball girls I was coaching, they were playing softball. So I came up and helped with that. So in basically 1994, I started coaching softball and doing different things. But my job is like right now, even my team, this past year, we have 5 different teams that they play with all summer long. So 5 different teams, 5 different coaches, 5 different philosophies. So then my job is to meld them together and get them to coexist and work and have fun to play this game of fast pitch softball. So, I mean, I do have a pitching coach on my staff. I do have a former player who's on my coaching staff, had a full ride to Tennessee Tech. She now has a daughter who's 10, and she's back coaching with me. And then so my staff is all former players with me.
What do you think of this
I think it's
Northwoods
fabulous.
League softball now?
Well, what it's doing is it is showing the girls that the sport that they love, that there's an avenue for them to play. I always talk to the girls, like Hannah's playing, and Hannah plays out in Crookston this year. She finished her freshman year. She said, Coach, I want to play. I want to play in college. And I looked at her and said, okay, remember, you're not going to make any big money on this. I mean, it's one in, the percentages.
Yeah.
Who actually, you think about basketball, baseball, any of those kids actually who get to a spot where they make money. Find the school that's going to have your degree. And then see if they have a softball team. If they have a softball team, hey, how about me? And so what this is doing is giving these girls an opportunity to take that initiative and that step to continue to play at a higher level once they're past 18 years old. Because most of your travel leagues are 18U is your highest. Well, if you're a year out of college, your first year of college, you're done.
Yep.
So you're moving home? I'm going
Right.
to play, but where am I going to go?
Yeah.
And you can go out east, the Cape Cod League, and that's a couple of our former players have done that, but travel all the way out there.
Yeah.
And so this is it's really, really neat for them. And I'm so excited. I'm so thankful. And I think it's so wonderful that they've done this and they're continuing to do it.
Yep.
Would you have played in this if
Would
you had
I
a chance?
have played? Would I have played? I loved softball was the thing I did. I loved basketball, but softball is the thing I did. You played softball. I played softball 4 nights a week because that's
Right.
what you did. You
Right.
played softball.
Yeah, Larry and I were talking about that on the way up. Just how many, it used to be tournaments every weekend.
Every
And-
weekend.
And there was a place to play every night of the week.
Calder, Fenwood, Stratford,
Yeah.
Spencer.
Yeah,
We drove by Lynn the other day, and I told my boys, I go, there used to be a softball field
Yeah,
back
it's
here.
right there.
Doesn't look like it, but yeah, there
Yeah,
was.
no, I would have loved to have played. I got to play when I graduated high school. Coach Lashin put together a little team for a couple tournaments, and I got to play. But my senior year of high school, I hurt my knee in basketball. So that kind of my softball career, I had surgery, and then 10 days later, I'm playing softball. So my softball career, but no, I played until I was like 30, and then 4 nights a week, tournaments, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, this would have been fabulous. I was able to coach a game this year here at Athletic Park, and it's a fabulous facility.
Yeah, I think it's kind of neat what what Mr. McDonald is trying to do here is entice some of the high school kids to play here. Stratford and Auburndale played a boys-girls doubleheader here.
Right.
And I thought that was just the neatest thing here. So,
That is neat. And we played Mosinee up here.
Yeah.
And so Mosinee baseball, softball, do something like that. That would be neat. And when we played, it was a really fun game. We had a good crowd. No, it was really neat. And I commend them for doing this because, like he said, there's the other 50% of the people out there are girls, and little girls see these older girls and they want to be them. They want to do that. I want to do that. And when you talk to these, we've got our back to ball nights with the girls, and the little girls come out. They are all over our players.
Yeah,
They're
right.
like, "What can we do? Oh my gosh!"
Yeah.
I know it's like, we were down at Goodman for the state tournament.
Yeah.
And I said, of all the schools, they've all got this big group of little girls down there, and they've all got the school colors on. They're sitting right next to the dugout.
Bows in their hair.
yeah,
I mean, they are,
It
and they
just-
know every single girl's
Yes.
name, and they're screaming.
I just think that is so cool.
And it's like we're going to have that we had posters printed, and all right, we're going to have after the game, the girls are going to sign the posters, and they're lined up. Then it was like an hour, and they're signing these
Yes.
posters, and the girls are like, "Oh my gosh!" And I'm like, "You do not understand that little moment of you smiling and saying,
No.
hey, oh my gosh!'
I said that's what
That's what promotes this game."
we did the sectional final up at Thorpe, and all, those girls were all little girls all getting their picture taken and
Yeah.
getting their posters signed. I thought
Yeah.
that was so cool.
Exactly. And that's the thing, that you have to be an ambassador to the game for the game to continue. You have to be that ambassador, and you can do it with the simplest thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got a couple of minutes left here on the show.
Look at that.
Yeah. We thank
Okay.
you, Ann, for coming in.
Thank you.
Just
And
fabulous. Yeah, it was nice.
congratulations on the rest of your career as a
How many more
softball
years?
coach.
How many more years as coach?
I was asked. We had uniform handed in today, and I had 3 different people look at me and say, "You're coming back next year, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah. Why? Have you heard anything different?" Well, I'm always the last to find out anything.
You're
so
too young to retire.
I'm
Well.
too young to retire.
Pacelli is very well known in the state for girls softball.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And
It-
very impressive boys baseball team this year
Yeah,
too.
the boys did well also. And the
Yeah.
thing is, the last time we both went to state and both brought hardware home was 2003.
Yeah, I cannot
So-
believe that team got shut out in the finals. So after watching them play Edgar the day before,
Yeah.
Yes. It kind of reminded me a little bit of my game
yeah,
in our finals, honestly.
Yeah.
that was
That
quite,
Johnson Creek pitcher, I don't know who they pitched their first game, but he was
Yeah,
he
I-
was on, and
I think they saved their number one for
that game.
Well.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, Pittsville had a good chance to beat them. If Pittsville doesn't make 4 errors in that game,
Right.
Pittsville wins that game.
And
Yeah.
Pittsville is in our conference,
Yes.
and so we see them, and they split with them. So
All
it's all
right.
good. All right.
Well, again,
thank you, gentlemen.
thank you for
Appreciate it.
joining
Thank
us.
you.
Long overdue. So
Thank you.
We're here at Athletic Park in
Yeah.
Wausau, 2 guys on sports. And, this would be kind of a neat thing to do,
yeah, we
maybe.
could do this more often, Dale. What do you think?
Take it on the road somewhere. And
Yeah, we have our engineer Dale
Yep.
here. So
Today we were promoting Wausau Ignite, the newest team to the Northwoods League Softball League. There's 5 teams now, and as Mark said earlier, looking
hoping
for a
to add
6th.
Yeah, Grand Forks.
Yes.
So
So hopefully
it's-
next year they'll have 6 teams in the league, and and maybe it'll grow like the Northwoods League baseball. I mean,
Yeah,
they're going to add another
whoever-
team next
Whoever
year.
thought that was going to be in 4 or 5 states? So,
Right.
And Canada.
Yes.
So.
Yes. All right. For today, that's Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson.
We'll talk to you again next week. Thanks again to our guests who are on the show today, Mark, Brianne, and Ann. If you want to know more about the Wausau Ignite softball team, you can head to northwoodsleague.com/Wausau-Ignite.